I'm just going to show you how we would typically crown clean a small tree, or at least from what I can reach from the ground. And a tree like this, all we would really do is take out the larger deadwood, make sure no vines are getting in it, and maybe some rubbing and crossing limbs, and also elevate it to an appropriate height. So the first thing I do is I got all my cutting tools here, different array of things just for different size cuts and everything, and I always sterilize my cutting tools in between trees. And so I'll come over here, and you know, if it's a larger cut, you would want to undercut it first and then make your top cut and take the weight off. But since these are smaller cuts that I can get my hand on, I'll just do it that way. But you know, and these don't have the best collars when they're on the trunk right there, but I don't want to violate this green tissue and make a flush cut there. And then right here I got a little vines, I want to get that out. And right here you can see a nice callus developing, and so I don't want to violate that. So I'd rather err on the side of just being a little conservative over wounding the tree. So I could try to get a little closer there, but I'm not in this situation. Now here I want to check and make sure this is dead. A lot of people always ask me, how do you tell if it's dead? Usually you see bark cracking like this, and you won't see winter buds on there. The ends will break easy, and usually a lot of bark flaking, and it even shakes differently because there's no life in it. So this one's a little larger, so you can just take the weight off real quick. And the reason we do that is so it doesn't peel. We don't want it to peel here. And sometimes it's a good idea to look at both sides and see where I have the best angle. I think I have a better angle here to try to make this collar cut. There we go. And that looks good. See, I look back over here and it looks kind of a little bit of a stub, so I want to come back and just shave a little bit off here. There we go. And I didn't violate this stem any. And then over here I got another one here, and I'll just hold this one up and keep it from peeling because it's light and there's no weight on it. Typically we don't really take out a lot of the little deadwood, but I will some and it just depends on the specs and the objective of the client. This one here is kind of out of reach, so I'll take some weight off first, and I'll make my final cut. And some trees have, or some limbs even have more of a pronounced collar like this does. A lot of times around the trunk, some of them won't as much. So you gotta be real careful with that. And over here I'll continue to take some more deadwood off. And even here, just kind of, you gotta find the right angle. There we go. And everything's about the right angle and getting a set of eyes on every cut you make. So that's about all I can reach there. So now I'll grab my post saw, and I just want to take off a little more. I'm going to take the weight off here real quick. It's dead, and deadwood typically doesn't peel unless it's heavy, but I don't like to risk it too much. So you got to be careful at the follow through so your blade doesn't come down and wound another branch. And I try not to break too many limbs off of deadwoods or red oaks, because it typically will make a hole in the limb. And then I look up here, I got one. This is dead too. And pull these hangers out. And now over here, some of this elevation, I don't want to elevate too high, just where it's located. So I'm going to cut it back to this lateral here. I will take a little weight off there because this is green tissue and it possibly peel. That cut looks good there, and let me take off a little bit more here just to lighten it up. Uh-oh, My cutting tools are a little dull lately. Alright. That looks pretty good. And if I got bigger ones, I can even go to these. Let's say I want to take off this piece here. Just take the weight off real quick. Try to line it up right, and there we go. That's a nice cut. And even this one, I want to take this one back. I'll take the weight off here again and line it up. There we go. And this, we'll actually paint these cuts just because this is a heavy oak wilt area. It's not oak wilt season right now, but we still try to paint them as a deterrent from the beetles wanting to feed on the live tissue. So that's pretty much what we do, and we'll go up a little higher. We may have to climb the tree, and we'll get out some of the crossing and rubbing limbs, and like I said, it depends on the specs and of the objective of the job. We'll clean out deadwood, sometimes just for hazard purposes, sometimes more for aesthetic purposes. Clients want tiny pieces of dead, so it just really depends on what you're after. But we try not to take much live tissue out of red oaks. Red oaks have a tendency to scorch from sunlight, and it will burn the trunk if you take out a lot of live tissue and open them up to new light. So that's how we do it.